Hello friends, welcome to the Hindu analysis by LTX classes. So today let's look at the first article, Madam President. It's an editorial about our new President of India, Draupadi Murmu. So let's look at some quick facts about ma'am's elevation to the highest constitutional office in India, which is the President. She is the first tribal person, first member from tribal community to become president. She is also the second woman to become president. Who is the first woman? Pratibha Patil. Overall, she is the 15th president of independent India. In this year, we are going to celebrate 75th anniversary of independence, and we have our 15th president in the name of Draupadi Murmu. The article also mentions some quick facts about tribes in general. In the year 2000, two states were created, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Jharkhand was created out of Bihar and Chhattisgarh was created out of Madhya Pradesh. Why? Both these states, if you remember, are full of tribal people. Just to pay special attention to tribal people, these two states were created in the year 2000. This is one quick fact with respect to tribes in general. In our constitution, there are two schedules, Schedule 5 as well as Schedule 6, which talk about special administrative provisions for tribal population. Schedule 6 specifically talks about the states Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Schedule 5 talks about every other state. This is what it is and the constitution with respect to tribes. And in 2006, this is very important for your exam, in 2006 this particular Forest Rights Act was passed. What is this act and what does it do? This particular act, it protects the rights of forest dwelling tribal groups. Very, very important. This act was created to protect the rights of people who live in the forests. People who live in the forests. What kind of rights? Right for housing, subsistence, their socio-cultural requirements and other aspects. Why was this needed? Why do you think this act was needed? Because before creation of this act, the policies that we had, like either in colonial India or in post-colonial India, whatever acts, rules, forest policies that we had, they did not recognize the scheduled tribes' symbiotic relationship with the forest. Very, very important. The key word here is symbiotic. What is the meaning of symbiotic? Which means mutually beneficial. They have established a very strong relationship with the forests. So we need to recognize their strong relationship with the forest and we need to protect their rights, because of which this act was created in 2006, the Forest Rights Act. Another important point with respect to this particular act is the importance of Gram Sabha. If tribes and forest dwellers have all the autonomy, if they have all the rights to take any decisions with respect to forest, then who will make laws? Who will make policies? Yes, their Gram Sabha becomes the legislature there. We are not going to make any policy or law. Our parliament is not going to make any policy or law, but their Gram Sabha is responsible for making policies. And the same Gram Sabha is responsible to conserve and protect biodiversity, wildlife, forests, adjoining catchment areas, water resources and other ecologically sensitive areas. And it is responsible to stop any destructive practices that might harm these resources. Very, very important point. Right? Under this act, Gram Sabha is a highly empowered body. It is a highly empowered body, and that allows the community to have a decisive say in the development of local policies. So they can create policies, they can come out with policies for the conservation of forests, for the maintenance of forest areas. So they have all the rights according to this particular act. This is something we need to remember as far as tribal people are concerned. But we need to remember one more aspect. Yes, BJP government has made Draupadi Murmu, who is a tribal woman, as the President of India. Does that mean are we doing everything that is required for tribal people? No. There are specific concerns that tribal people are facing today, and the government of the day, which is the NDA government today, is responsible to handle all those concerns. Just because you have made one member of the community as President of India doesn't mean you can leave rest of the community, right? The government still has the responsibility to take care of all their concerns. But what are the concerns that tribal people are facing today? Very, very important. What are the concerns that tribal people are facing today? First thing that they are facing is oppression by police. Police have this oppressive policies, oppressive attitude towards tribals. This has been shown in our movie Jai Bhim. Jai Bhim movie, if you have seen, police are seen putting these people in jail under false cases. There are many oppressive and suppressive policies by police towards these innocent tribes. This is one thing. And there are other aspects like erosion of protections. Erosion means taking away or removing. Erosion of protections given to tribals. Protections given to tribes. All the rights, protections that they used to have, now slowly these protections rights are being taken away. This is another concern that they are expressing. And the final one is intolerance of state towards their autonomy. Autonomy is the key word. Autonomy means they are independent in many aspects. That is why we have separate schedules governing them. But unfortunately, our state governments are being intolerant. The state government is not respecting the tribal autonomy. They have certain rights, they have certain autonomy that has been given by the constitution, but states are not recognizing it. They are being intolerant towards tribal autonomy. These are the concerns the tribes people are facing today, and the governments must make sure that all these concerns are addressed. And government should also focus on socio-economic empowerment of tribes. Socio-economic empowerment of tribes. Only then we can protect them. And you have this Maoist issue also. If tribes are not empowered, if the tribes are not taken care of, there is every likelihood that Naxalites or Maoists can make use of this particular situation, right? So this is what the government is supposed to do as far as STs are concerned. The second article which we are going to discuss today is an oped article in page number 6. Pegasus Battle, the Fight for Surveillance Reform. A beautiful article which comes under your General Studies paper 3 under Cyber Security, Internal Security. It can also come under GS paper 2 as far as fundamental rights are concerned, because this spyware affects our right to privacy. So this is important both from General Studies paper 2 as well as General Studies paper 3 point of view. So let's understand this entire article and try to summarize and extract the gist out of this in a simple and crisp manner. What is this Pegasus issue? Why are we talking about it? What happened? First of all, what is this Pegasus? Pegasus is a spyware. You know what is spying, right? Looking at someone or trying to see someone in a secretive manner. For example, someone hacks your phone and checks your WhatsApp, uses your camera, looks at your data without your notice. That is spying. And the technology used to do that is spyware. This is a spyware created by a company called NSO Group based in Israel. Israel's NSO Group is the creator of this thing, this particular spyware called Pegasus. And as per Israeli law, only it is sold only to other countries or governments. It is sold only to governments and not to private individuals as per Israeli law. Very, very important point. All this is okay. But what is the connection of Pegasus to India? Last year, a digital news platform reported that mobile phones or cell phones of 300 Indians were hacked. The mobile phones of 300 Indians were hacked using this spyware called Pegasus, and these 300 Indians include cabinet ministers, human right defenders, judges, Supreme Court and High Court judges, journalists, and opposition leaders. So several prominent people were there in this list, and their mobile phones were hacked using this Pegasus spyware. And as per Israeli law, this spyware is sold only to governments. So what does it indicate? It means, it may suggest that probably India has purchased this Pegasus spyware from Israel and is using to spy on several prominent people in the country. So immediately people started questioning the government. As per Israeli law, this is used only by the government, this is sold only to the government, and in India it is used. And this has been confirmed by Amnesty. This has been confirmed by Amnesty International's Security Lab. They have checked and confirmed that Pegasus is a spyware used in these people's mobiles. They have checked samples of 10 mobiles and figured out and confirmed that Pegasus is the one used to spy on these individuals. Of course, people approached the government and questioned, how is it possible? Are you the one doing this? Yes, let's look at the government's response. When the government was approached with the question, did the government answer it in a straightforward manner? First of all, we approached executive. What is executive? Your PM and Council of Ministers. And what is the response of executive? Response of executive is simply evasive, which means they did not give a direct answer. They did not give any direct answer. They says the current law in India, it prevents unauthorized surveillance. That is what the government said, but it did not answer how Pegasus, a spyware which was to be sold only to the governments, is used in India. It did not answer that main question. Obviously, when the executive fails to answer the questions, it is the responsibility of the legislature. Right? It is the responsibility of the legislature to hold it accountable, because that is the responsibility of legislature. Executive should be accountable to legislature. So there is a parliamentary committee called IT committee. It is a parliamentary committee. This parliamentary committee tried to question officials from IT ministry. This committee tried to question officials from IT ministry, but for that questioning to happen, they needed to have quorum. Any important meeting needs quorum. What is quorum? Minimum attendance. For parliamentary committee meetings, especially meetings in which important decisions are taken, the quorum is 1/3. The quorum is 1/3 of the members. At least 1/3 of the members of the committee must be present in the meeting. Unfortunately, since ruling party had the majority, they made sure they did not attend the meeting. They made sure that there was no quorum possible. Because there was no minimum attendance, IT committee could not question the IT ministry officials. This way, even legislature failed to ensure accountability from the executive. Although they tried, they could not make the legislature, they could not make the executive accountable. So that's when people approach the third organ, which is judiciary, the third organ of the government, which is judiciary, and people approached Supreme Court, and Supreme Court constituted a technical committee. Supreme Court constituted a technical committee to look into the matter and asked it to submit its report. Unfortunately, it was formed in October 2021, but till now the report hasn't reached. The report isn't completed. 8 months have passed, but the committee has not submitted the report yet. They have asked for extension. They have only given interim report. They did not give final report yet. Final has not come yet. They are asking for further time. So this is the situation today. Most likely towards the end of July, the case will again come to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court might talk about this particular case. And there is another issue of commercial spyware. So we are talking about Pegasus, and there is another issue which is growing in India, the industry of commercial spyware. What is the meaning of that? They take money. The commercial spyware companies, they take money and they spy. They hack the mobiles. They spy our mobiles and give valuable information to the person paying them. Is this correct? Obviously no. Isn't it a breach of right to privacy? Yes, it is a breach of right to privacy. But in today's India, this industry has been growing like anything. So this industry is called surveillance for hire. So they take money from people, and whatever this person says, whoever this person points to, and they spy or hack that person's mobile and give information. Sometimes they also put incriminating evidence. They also manipulate their mobile and other things, their computers, and plant evidences, especially in cases. We have seen this in Bhima Koregaon case. In this Bhima Koregaon case, what happened is, the victims are the ones who were put in jails. Their computers have been hacked, right? And evidence was planted in their computers. With that evidence, they were arrested. So this commercial spyware industry or surveillance for hire industry is doing all these illegal activities in India, which is detrimental to our fundamental right to privacy. That is the problem we are facing today. When these kind of things are happening in India, what will happen to India's democratic credentials across the world? Obviously, they will take a hit. Let's look at what this Freedom in the World report says. Freedom in the World report is a report given by Freedom House. It is a report given by an organization called Freedom House. It is an NGO based in United States of America. It's an NGO, non-governmental organization based in United States of America. So this particular Freedom House rates countries based on two parameters. One, political liberties. The other, civil liberties or civic liberties. They ask certain questions. They find out whether the country and the people of the country have these liberties or not. And they gather information and they give scoring, and finally they give rating to the country. They put countries in 3 different statuses. Very, very important. And what are the 3 different statuses? One is free, which means the freedom is quite high in that particular country. The other one is partly free. This is the second category. The third one is not free. not free. So these are the three different statuses. Whichever country has very high score is put in free, and if the country has very low score, then it becomes not free. So these are the three different categories. But what happened to India? India is in which category? Is in which category? From free, India became partly free in 2021. The status was changed from free to partly free in 2021, predominantly because of this Pegasus issue. Because of this issue, our status got changed from free to partly free. Very, very important from your prelims point of view. Freedom in the World report given by Freedom House, an NGO based in United States, scores in two parameters, political liberties and civil liberties, and three different statuses. India's status was changed from free to partly free in 2021 because of this Pegasus spyware issue. Pegasus spyware issue. That is the reason our rating got downgraded. Right, we have seen all the issues. We have seen what happened in 2021 because of Pegasus, and we have seen the response of legislature, judiciary and executive. The article spoke about all these aspects. The article also spoke about Freedom in the World report, how our democratic credentials are being hurt, and how our status got changed from free to partly free by this particular report, in this particular report. Then what is the way forward? What is the way forward? What has to be done? What has to be done now? What is needed is complete overhaul. Complete overhaul means complete change, complete transformation of surveillance laws in India. Surveillance laws in India. Today we have two very old laws. One, IT Act 2000. There is another act called Indian Telegraph Act. Indian Telegraph Act. It is a colonial era act, 1885. So these are the two acts that we have in India today. But these two acts empower the government. They empower the government to surveil, but according to procedure. They have to follow a certain procedure. Unfortunately, while these acts are empowering the government to surveil, which means to monitor, to spy, but there is no provision for oversight. What is the meaning of oversight? Oversee means to see whether the government is doing it properly or is abusing these laws. There is no oversight provision either for parliament or for judiciary, which means neither judiciary nor parliament can oversee what the government is doing. They cannot question directly how the government is utilizing or making use of these laws. There is no oversight mechanism. So what do we need? We need a complete overhaul or complete transformation of these laws. These laws need to be completely transformed. Unfortunately, do we have any such laws today? Is the government trying to come out with any laws? No. No such laws or bills are pending before the parliament today. If this continues, India's democratic ideals will further get downgraded. This is not a good thing for our country. So that is what the author is trying to say. He wants us to completely overhaul these old laws and make government more accountable to judiciary and legislature. Let's look at the third article of the day, which is about women's right to safe abortion. So there was one girl who approached the Supreme Court to abort her 24-week pregnancy after her relationship failed and her partner left her, which means she is an unmarried woman who is in live-in relationship. She engaged in premarital sex. So they were not in wedding. right? So this lady approached the Supreme Court to allow her to abort her pregnancy, and this pregnancy is also 24-week pregnancy, very very important. So this particular article comes under your GS paper 2, social justice issues related to women related issues. So let's look at this article in detail. Article has been framed in a beautiful manner. So this lady approached the Supreme Court, and what did the Supreme Court say in this particular case? Supreme Court says yes, it can be allowed. First of all, this lady approached a lower court. The lower court said no, it is not possible, because plea for safe abortion was not covered under Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, as the pregnancy arose from a consensual relationship outside wedlock. Very very important, because this lady is not married, because it arose outside wedlock, she is an unmarried woman, so her plea for abortion is not covered in Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, is what the lower court said. But what happened in 2021? Look at this. There was an amendment in 2021 to this particular MTP, or Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. In this, the word husband was replaced with partner. Earlier it used to be husband, now it has been replaced with partner. It means it covers unmarried women also, and the lower court missed out on this point, because of which they did not allow, and Supreme Court scolded or criticized the lower court. Now live-in relationships are already recognized by the Supreme Court. Even people are accepting that premarital sex is not wrong. That's what is happening in society today. People are accepting it. So, and even there was amendment to this particular act in 2021, which replaced the word husband with partner. It means it covers unmarried women also. The Supreme Court also said women's right to reproductive choice, or whether to abort or whether to continue with the pregnancy, is her own right. It is part of her right to personal liberty under Article 21. Under Article 21, she has a right to life and personal liberty. So right to safe abortion is also covered in this. She has a right to her bodily integrity. What to do with her body, she has a right. But since it is already 24-week pregnancy, the court ordered a medical board to be formed by the AIMS. So AIMS will have to form a medical board and check whether it is safe to abort it now or not. Okay, so this is all about this particular case. Finally, Supreme Court has mentioned that women have right to safe abortion, even if that woman is not married. Unmarried women also have right to safe abortion. That is the amendment covered in 2021. So let's look at all the changes in 2021 in the next slide. So look at this. This MTP Act was originally created in 1971 and it was amended in 2021. If you see here, 71 Act applies only to married women, but in amendment unmarried women are also covered. And earlier it used to be only 20 weeks. Pregnancy up to 20 weeks was eligible for abortion, but in MTP Act, for rape survivors and 24 weeks for rape survivors, and beyond 24 weeks for substantial fetal abnormality. If there are so many abnormalities in the fetus, then even after 24 weeks you can abort. These are the provisions made in 2021. But do we need any permission? Yes. Up to 20 weeks you have to take opinion of one RMP, registered medical practitioner. 20 to 24 weeks you need opinion of 2 RMPs. Beyond that we need a medical board. That is the reason Supreme Court asked AIMS to form a medical board and give its opinion, because her pregnancy has crossed 24 weeks, right? After 24 weeks we need to frame a medical board and take its approval. That's about it. If the doctor doctors, they breach women's confidentiality, they release the information to outsiders, there is a fine and there could be imprisonment of 1 year. The RMPs, if they breach the confidentiality of the women, and there is this imprisonment of 1 year as well. These are the amendments, key amendments in MTP 2021. The next article of the day is about NITI Ayogs Innovation Index. NITI Ayogs Innovation Index list. Again, this comes under your GS paper 2, government policies and interventions. Right. Before looking at NITI Ayogs Innovation Index, we should understand is if there is any global level innovation index. Yes, there is a global innovation index which is released by WIPO. What is WIPO? World Intellectual Property Organization, a specialized agency of United Nations. So this particular organization releases global innovation index, and India was ranked 81 in 2015 and the rank got improved to 46 in 2021, which means the government of India is making all the efforts to improve its score in global innovation. Right, this innovation index is measured on 80 parameters, 80 indicators which are put in two categories: innovation inputs and innovation outputs. You look at these two parameters overall, two groups. Inputs include inputs include institutions, what you call human capital, research, infrastructure, etc. Output includes the knowledge, technology outputs and creative outputs, etc. So these are several things that Global Innovation Index considers. Based on this, NITI Aayog in India has created India Innovation Index. According to this, it ranks all the states at subnational level, all the states of the country in several parameters, and Karnataka has got first rank. We need to remember that Karnataka bagged first rank in India Innovation Index 2022, right? So the report of the government mentioned several key important aspects. The government said, look at this, all the points which I have highlighted are important. The government said average innovation score that we have today is insufficient because India wants to be among top 25 nations in the Global Innovation Index. Where are we? In 2021 we are at 46 and India wants to be among top 25. So current innovation score is not sufficient, so it recommended certain measures. What are the recommendations? These recommendations are very, very important for your mains. Look at this. We need to increase gross domestic expenditure on R&D. The government has to increase its expenditure on research and development. Second thing, it must promote private sector participation in research and development, not just public sector. Private sector has to participate. The government has to encourage private sector to participate in research and development, and also close the gap between industry demand and what the country produces through its education systems. The skills that the people, the students coming out of colleges have and what the industry needs today are not matching. So there is a lot of gap. Lot of students are coming out from degree colleges, engineering colleges, and industry needs are different. The skills that the students have are different. There is a gap. That gap needs to be fixed. That is another measure that this report suggested. The report also suggested that countries which spend less on gross domestic expenditure on R&D, they also fail to retain their human capital. It is very difficult for them to retain their people. All the people who are smart, if you are not spending on research and development, if the government is not giving enough budget to scientific inventions, all the people with scientific temper, they will leave the country. They will go to US, UK or other any developed countries which give importance to R&D, which give importance to these scientists and research scholars. If you don't give importance, if you don't have enough budget, all the important brain drain will happen. All the smart people will leave the organization. If all the smart people will leave the country, how can you innovate? If you want to innovate, you need smart people. If smart people are to be here, we need to spend a lot of money for research and development. We have to allocate a lot of budget for research and development. And even today, India's this expenditure on research and development is only 0.7%. It has to be at least 2%. Expenditure has to reach at least 2%, only then we will be able to reach our target of less than 25 in Global Innovation Index. So this is what the report says. So there are some facts, quick facts, and some important points for your mains, which are clearly written here. Let's look at the last article of the day. Asian Development Bank ADB pairs means reduces India's FY23 growth forecast to 7.2%. It has reduced our growth forecast. Why? Citing price rise because of inflation. Since inflation is quite high in India, it has cut the growth forecast from 7.5% earlier to 7.2% because of why? Two reasons. One, higher than anticipated inflation. Inflation has been quite high in India. Second reason is monetary policy tightening. What is the meaning of monetary policy tightening? Which means RBI is increasing interest rates. Tightening means reducing money supply, increasing interest rate. If you are increasing interest rates, is it going to help the economy? Definitely not, because companies will find it difficult to take loans, because there is lesser money supply and also interest rates have gone up, loans become expensive. So there will not be further investments, there will not be expansions. If you want to expand your company, if you want to set up a new company, you will need loans. If the loans become expensive, they will not take loans, they will not go for loans. This is what happens, and this affects growth of the economy. So ADB is saying because of these reasons, we are reducing our growth forecast of India from 7.5% to 7.2% for 22-23, and for 23-24 also it has reduced the projection from 8% to 7.8%. The forecast has been reduced. Now since ADB is in news, we have to look at certain facts, quick facts about ADB. ADB is a regional development bank established in 1966. Headquartered in Manila. It was headquartered in Manila, Philippines. How many members does it have? It has 68 members, out of which 49 are from Asia. And India is one of the top 5 shareholders. Top 5 shareholders of ADB include Japan, US, People Republic of China, India and Australia. These are top 5 shareholders of Asian Development Bank, and this particular bank has given a forecast about India's growth for 2023 and 2024. It has reduced the growth forecast of India, and it has given inflation as the prime reason and monetary policy reason as the other reason. Because of the inflation, to control inflation, RBI is going for tightening of monetary policy, which means RBI is trying to increase interest rates. By increasing interest rates, RBI is trying to reduce the aggregate demand in the country. If you increase interest rates, purchases will go down. For example, you want to purchase a home. If the home loan interest goes up, what will you do? You might postpone your decision. When you postpone your decision of purchasing home, the demand for cement falls, the demand for steel falls, the demand for other things that are required for construction of home falls. I am giving you one example. Similarly, across the country, aggregate demand for goods and services will go down when interest rates go up. When the demand goes up, when the demand goes down, the prices tend to go down. That way inflation will be controlled. That is the objective of RBI through its monetary policy tightening. Because of these reasons, ADB says India might not grow as much in the next 2 years. That's about it. Take care. Give your comments, give your feedback in the comment section. Take care. Bye bye. Let's catch up tomorrow.